Here is Tom Ackerman.
It's great to be along with you for another show. Beautiful day in St. Louis. It's going to get hot, though. Going to be another hot one. Boy, we had a hot one yesterday. My goodness. Welcome. And we welcome into the studio. Let's introduce him right away. The self-professed Yankee fan who has been so important not only to New York in the past, but also to the city of St. Louis. He is St. Louis Police Chief Robert Tracy with us in studio once again for Sports on a Sunday Morning. How about being my co-host today?
Oh, that's great, Tom. What an honor. Last year we had a lot of fun, and I can't wait to talk about Cardinal and Yankee baseball.
We did have a good time. So far you've taken two from the Cardinals. Now, I know you like the Cardinals as well, but the Yankees needed it, didn't they? They are in a race right now, 2.5 games in front of the Guardians for that last wild card.
Right, but let's not give up on the Cardinals. I mean, when it comes to the wild card, I think they're 4.5 right now, and they can make up that ground. Hopefully, they can go on a winning streak after the Yankees, and it's only one more game left, and the Yankees have that last wild card spot. And what a fall from grace from where they were in the beginning of the year, and hopefully, they can turn it back on. Well,
I'll admit something. I didn't even mention the wild card standings in my sportscast this morning. Not that I'm like. I don't want to ever say I've given up on anything, but that part of it I've kind of forgotten about almost. Like, I just want to watch the team. And I said this in the beginning of the year too. I just want to enjoy myself. I just want to watch the team develop, because I knew expectation wise going into this year that they were not going to be a team that was going to be in the hunt for a World Series. They'd only made one move in the offseason, Phil Maton. They were trying to see what younger players, they use the word runway, see what younger players look like. It's just a strange time for the Cardinals, Chief, because we knew for years that they were going to be in the hunt every year. And I've never experienced an offseason like last offseason. I never have. But then again, that's baseball for you. Now, I also looked at it this way the other day. You know, when I started at KMOX in 1997, we were just talking about that in the office. Is 1982, the World Series championship, the last one for the Cardinals when I got hired here at KMOX, seems so long ago to me. You know, it was 15 years before that. And everybody around here was talking as if it had just happened, like time just flew by. Now I sit here in 2025. What happened 15 years ago? The Cardinals were on the verge of starting the 2011 World Championship season. To me, that just happened. But to a lot of fans out there, that is a long, long time ago, especially if you don't have memory of 2011. My point being, I'm throwing you into this because the Yankees haven't won since 2009.
Correct.
So if you are, let's say, a 25-year-old, 25, you're a young professional working in New York, you're a Yankee fan, have been your whole life. You don't remember the Yankees win the World Series unless you have the vivid memories as a 9-year-old. So, I mean, it's amazing how time can pass you by real fast in this game.
Can you take a look at it in another way? We're always in the hunt. I think because the Cardinals and the Yankees have had such storied franchises and we're so used to winning, we actually have been spoiled compared to other franchises because we've won so much. And you take the most wins for World Series in the National League with the Cardinals, second most compared to the Yankees having the most overall, 27 World Championships. But we're always in the hunt, and that's what we always expect. And there's teams that don't expect to win, but we always expect to win, which is very high expectations. So sometimes we can get disappointed easily. And that's sometimes we got to take a look at it. As long as I see them in the playoffs, competing for the playoffs, then we have a chance to win the World Series. And I think this year, you just talked about, sometimes it has to be rebuilding years. We went through the 60s after the 64 World Series, after St. Louis beat the Yankees in 7 games. Then we went on a dry spell. I think it took us to 76 to be back in it. And then we went on another dry spell after 76, 77, 78. And then 81, I think, against the Dodgers when we lost. And then it took us to 1996, 97, 98. I think it was 97. I think we took 98, 99, and 2000. We've been very fortunate at the same time, but we can get disappointed because we're so used to winning. And I think I see that with Cardinals as well. But there's always optimism. But a year like this, That's an exciting team. I love watching these young players out there right now. And I've gone to several games, including one last night, and I'll be going this afternoon.
Yeah, Aaron Judge hits a home run, and that one of those young players you're talking about, Victor Scott, almost took that away from him. I mean, that would have been one of the plays of the year, if not the catch of the year, but he missed it. And, the effort was incredible. But Judge gets the home run. Just to your point, it's hard to explain this to young people, but when I was growing up, I was born in 1975. So I was too young to remember 81. 82, I do remember the Cardinals winning it. I went with my dad to game 6, 13-1, rain delayed, John Stuper, all that stuff. Keith Hernandez hit a home run in that game. But the Yankees, when I was growing up in the mid 80s, late 80s, early 90s, not good.
No.
And that's hard to explain to people. Like, how is that possible? Well, it happened. But when you were growing up, you did get to see some of those great years. Just take me back to your childhood and how you became a Yankee fan.
Well, I born and raised in the Bronx, and I happen to have my sister, who's my oldest sister, but looks like 20 years younger. She's in town for the Yankees, but she used to bring me to the games, into the bleachers, and that was back when Bobby Mercer had taken over for Mickey Mantle.
And she's here with us today. In fact, we do have a camera on the studio, so you can see some of her on the camera there. But
so Susan Tracy and her friends and her girlfriends used to bring me because they wanted to be in the bleachers because Bobby Mercer was a heartthrob, and these young teenage girls really liked him, and I got to tag along. So I did see a lot of those lean years coming up, and then I started seeing a lot of the winning streaks that were going on in the future, getting into the late 70s, and then I was very spoiled into the 90s, and of course we made it to 2009, and then we've been in the hunt. We've gotten to the World Series last year, and we were knocking on the door, but those Houston Astros kept knocking us back down the last few years.
A lot of pressure on Aaron Boone to deliver, and Brian Cashman for that matter. Right. It is a different deal up there. I mean, if the Yankees don't make the playoffs this year, and it looks like the Cardinals with these 2 wins, they certainly have put themselves in a better position, but it is going to be tight from here on out. It would be a mess, I would think, among that fan base. They wouldn't like that one bit after everything that happened last year, that you don't make the playoffs this year. But it just tells you the urgency that goes on there. And I think that Cardinals fans, quite honestly, Chief, they miss that. They miss that relevancy and feeling like they matter. When you turn on MLB Network, you want to see Cardinals players. All respect to Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton, and everybody else in New York and Dodgers and Cubs and et cetera. That's what I think people are most upset about, and the fatigue that is set in. So, you are in a good spot right now as a Yankee fan, but let's make no mistake about it. It's not a lot of fun to be in the Yankees world when things don't go well.
Yeah, correct. And I'll tell you what, although I'm a Yankee fan, I've always watched the Cardinals. I never really had to worry about them because they were in the National League. Mm-hmm. And when we did have to worry about them, we were both very happy it would be the World Series. And I'm a fan because when the Cardinals win, the town wins, the city wins, we all win. And it's great for our city of St. Louis. So I'm a fan, other than when they play the Yankees, and I think that's fair. I'm true to myself, and I think you would want me to be that way. But I could root for them any day of the week, and they only play a few times a year now, whether they're here or they're going to New York like they did last year. But it's an exciting team. I'm seeing some things. You and I talked about it coming in, even the shortstop, Mason Wynn. What an exciting player and a young player. And you told me he's just as professional, and what a great young man he is as he is a player.
He really is. He's wise. He loves the history of the Cardinals and is close with Ozzie Smith. I did an event with Ray Lankford last week. He came up to join Ray for that in the middle of getting ready for a game in which he was going to play. He came up 5 minutes, spent some time, took pictures, answered my questions, said hi to everybody. He just wants to be part of Cardinal history, and he is a special talent. Had a nice day yesterday with a 3-run bomb too. That's St. Louis Police Chief Robert Tracy. I'm Tom Ackerman. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about St. Louis and safety around sporting events, but also dig in a little bit more to this great rivalry. I would say through the years, I've always dreamed of a Cardinals-Yankees World Series, 2 of the most successful franchises in sports. Back in a moment. You're listening to Sports on a Sunday Morning. Also, I want to mention, and I'll wear this for the rest of our segment. This is Leroy's Tavern, for those of you watching on camera. Leroy's Tavern is in Evansville, Indiana, home of
Don Mattingly.
That's right. And when I go to the Ville and call basketball games, and in some cases baseball, but mostly basketball games, I like to go to Leroy's Tavern, have gone. And they are big Cardinals fans. They're great people. They sent me this hat and asked if I would wear it during our show. So here you are, Leroy's Tavern in Evansville, Indiana. You want to have a good time? You want to go to a great sports bar? That's your spot right there. Back in a moment, sports on a Sunday morning from the Stifel Sports Studio.
Is your home, business, or church looking tired, chalky, or in need of curb appeal? Go Rhino. Tired of painting year after year? Go Rhino. Our unique 3M ceramic technology is perfect for brick, stucco, aluminum, steel, color lock masonite, and more. It's backed by our 25-year transferable warranty to not chip, crack, or peel. Great if you're staying, and even better if you're selling. Our ceramic coating allows you to maintain all of your architectural features. The decision to do vinyl will leave your home looking like a plastic moldy box. With Rhino Shield, in 15 years, your home will still have that, wow, it looks like you just got it painted. We've done large condo complexes, parking garages, pole barns, and commercial strip malls. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. Evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan with McKelvey Homes. Did you know that McKelvey builds custom homes on individual sites throughout the metropolitan area? We have sites in prime locations from Rock Hill to Wildwood, including several in the coveted Ladue School District. Experience why many have chosen McKelvey Homes with our legendary quality and personalized service to build their dream home. Visit our newly completed Turnberry at 19 Beaver Drive, just north of Ladue and east of Lindbergh. It is loaded with features and now open. Visit McKelveyHomes.com and move up to McKelvey.
Hi, I'm Andrew Suntrup. For over 30 years, St. Louis families have trusted Suntrup Ford Westport and Suntrup Ford Kirkwood as a proud, family-owned and operated dealership. We offer more than just great deals. We offer peace of mind. At Suntrup Ford, you'll find a huge selection of inventory to choose from, unmatched customer service, and our exclusive lifetime powertrain protection program. Visit in store or online at suntrupford.com. Save more at Suntrup Ford. Visit suntrupford.com.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
Today, the Cards, the Yankees. Ackerman Total Access 1220. Cardinals Radio. 104.1 FM KMOX. Now, back to the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning on 104.1 KMOX. From the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, here is Tom Ackerman.
We are indeed in the Stifel Sports Studio. The Stifel Charity Classic coming to Norwood Hills Country Club September 5th through the 7th. PGA Tour Champions event. Some of the legends of golf will be here in St. Louis, and we look forward to that. In fact, Stifel CEO Ron Kruszewski is going to join us at 10:30 to talk a little bit more about that. At 10:45, Chris Blair, the general manager of Worldwide Technology Raceway. The NASCAR Cup playoff race will be here September 5th through the 7th, same weekend. NASCAR Cup playoffs. This is the 4th race at Worldwide Technology Raceway, but this is some big-time stuff. Chris Blair will announce the music lineup and talk a little bit more about that race. Joining us from the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department, Chief Robert Tracy, and we really appreciate you being with us. We talked a little Cards Yankees. Well, let me ask you about that. I just mentioned 2 big events coming to St. Louis and the surrounding areas. That means a lot more people wanting to feel safe. You have Cardinals playing at Busch Stadium. They will be here. You have the Blues about to crank up at Enterprise Center. City, of course, in downtown West. The Billikens play at Chaffetz Arena in various locations on campus. Battlehawks at the Dome. I mean, this is a big sports area right here that you are overseeing the police department. What can you say about the safety of attending those events and what people can expect here as things start to ramp back up?
Yeah, and as any sporting event, and as we go over things that are going to be happening, we put additional resources out there. We use overtime, this thing called secondary, and it helps supplement the district offices and our special operations unit. So we got to make sure where the events are happening, if they're overlapping with each other, where the routes are, and especially one of the biggest things going to sporting events, not just here but other cities, is your car safe? Because things happen, and that could really ruin a good day. You come out, and we want to make sure that people, please don't bring your guns downtown and leave them in a car, because that's what they're looking for. And we've really did a great job of getting that message out, working with the teams, working with the security, working with our officers, that we've really brought that down where it used to be a huge problem. It still could be somewhat of a problem now, but that safety and property. And when you're coming downtown, always know your surroundings, where you're parking, who you're with. Make sure you don't have, you're looking into your phone, because then you can become a victim. But crime is down, and it's down from where we were in 2022. It's down about 58% downtown. And it's down, and downtown West, you just talked about with City, and you got Union Station up there, it's down about 55%. But perception takes a long time to catch up to reality. And we are short on officers. And when we can get back up to budget strength, that omnipresence can help with that perception, as long as we continue to. These men and women at St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department are doing a tremendous job in the strategies we have in place. And we're never going to relent, and can make sure to try to keep the city safer. And one of the biggest things, Tom, is we have a new circuit attorney, Gabe Gore. Now, when our officers are making arrests, holding people accountable is pretty important when they commit a crime. That wasn't happening in years past, and now it's happening. In some of the cases that people got away with 7 or 8 arrests, were never held accountable. We're going back and charging them as we move forward. So it's a new day. The bad guy is not going to be emboldened anymore, and we're going to make sure we continue to keep a good eye on that.
Not only have you had a change in the circuit attorney's office, but you've also had a change at mayor and governor during your time as chief. Tell me about Kara Spencer and Mike Kehoe, and how those changes have changed the overview of your job right now.
Yeah, coming into St. Louis, who knew a few years ago that we'd have a mayoral change, and then having the state take over and go back to what they used to have. It was a board of commissioners. 2 weeks before the general election, Governor Mike Kehoe signed a Bill 495, which actually put the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department back under the state, back under a board of commissioners, which is 6 commissioners, five voting members, 1 non-voting member, one of the voting members being the mayor, which we just talked about, Kara Spencer, who won the election a couple of weeks later. And so I have different governance, and I also have new leadership. But my main goal where I came here was to help reduce crime, work with police departments. I've worked in New York, Chicago, Wilmington, Delaware, and I've worked for different types of governance. So if I can keep the officers focused, keep myself focused on the strategies we're doing, and help educate and also work with the new governance, usually when you go in the right direction, they will support you in doing that job. And I already see that happening with both the new governor, the board, and also this new mayor.
You worked in Delaware, as you mentioned. Chicago, New York are major metropolitan areas, cities. High population means problems. They do arise. Tell me specifically about your experience in New York and around Yankee Stadium. There are some, you've seen everything, I'm sure, but being among those fans, being a fan of the team yourself, but also doing the job to keep everybody safe.
Well, we talked about my sister, who's sitting here, taking me to the games and to the bleachers back in the probably the early 70s, and then being a Yankee fan all my life. As a young police officer, I actually worked the Yankee Stadium detail back in 87 and 88, where they assign officers for the season. And we have a locker room underneath Yankee Stadium next to the visitors' locker room. So I got to see all the players coming in. We got to know the Yankees because we're in uniform. We respect the ball players. Ball players respect people in uniform. And a dream come true. I get to go into law enforcement, follow my father's career, who was a Bronx homicide detective. And then I get to work at Yankee Stadium. And I'm getting paid for this. So those were the things that I was very fortunate in a very dangerous job. And then, then I made sergeant. I went and took a test, and then I couldn't go back to Yankee Stadium as working as an officer. I went off to Manhattan, and then my career took off as far as going up the ranks. But being around those crowds, I've had a lot of experience being around how to do crowd control, how to keep people safe. I also worked Madison Square Garden for a lot of years, supervising security and in secondary. And I've been around a lot of stadiums, of course, all going off to Chicago. Crowd control and making sure that those stadiums were kept safe, as well as the center stand. They had the United Center, and they did win championships. And then we had to do crowd control. The Blackhawks at the time had won, and the Cubs actually won when we were there. So I'm hoping coming here, St. Louis will have that World Series, and the Blues and the soccer club as well.
Wow, you've provided some security for some big parades. We would love to see that. We would love to see another one. We've been lucky around here. It's just been a while, but the Stanley Cup parade in 2019 was phenomenal.
Right.
Of course, the Cardinals have thrown a few since I've been here at KMOX, and a few since I was born in 1975 here in St. Louis. Rams winning one. You just never know what could happen here. And hopefully things do come back and come back strong. I wanted to ask you too, 87, 88, just to go back to your Yankee fandom. That would mean that Don Mattingly was playing at that time. Did you tell me he's your favorite player?
I told you last year, you asked me, we didn't talk about it. At all that storied history going back from Ruth, Gehrig, DiMaggio, Berra, who's a hometown, born and raised on Elizabeth Street as a Yankee. But Don Mattingly was a person I got to meet in person because that was his early years, and had got a chance to speak with him because I was working in uniform down there. But he's one of my favorite players, and unfortunately, he was never able to get the ring. But Donnie baseball and the way he carried himself as the captain of the Yankees, he is by far my favorite Yankee player.
And then looking ahead to this team and moving forward, as we're going to have you stick around, those Ron Kruszewski is going to join us here next, but this team today, and we'll get you the lineup, but do they have an opportunity, you think, to do what you want, to get back to the World Series?
Well, they made some trades for pitching, especially the relief pitching has been breaking down for the Yankees. So they made some key trades before the deadline. I'm hoping they didn't do so well out of the box. I'm hoping they do well. And then the Yankees got to get back to hitting. They showed it last night. Judge was hurt. You get him back in the lineup. You got Stanton. Listen, a key player. Thank you very much from the Cardinals, Paul Goldschmidt. That guy's a clutch player. And listen, he was an MVP, I think, only 3 years ago in 2022, I believe. And he's been a great player, not only on the field, but from what I understand, in the locker room. So that type of chemistry, there's time to go on one of those winning streaks. And we've seen teams, really pull it together the last several weeks going right into, if they can carry that momentum. That's what I'm hoping that happens to the Yankees.
Bellinger back in the lineup today. Here's your lineup. Cardinals haven't released their lineup just yet. Grisham, Rice, who killed us last night. 7
RBIs.
Judge batting third. He's the DH. He can't play right field because of his arm. Bellinger is in right field. He's back in there after an illness yesterday, batting fourth. Then Chisholm, you kind of forget about him. He is a really talented player. 21 home runs. He popped one in this series. Goldschmidt is in there at first base today. Paul Goldie's going to play. Paul Goldschmidt is batting sixth. Then Dominguez, McMahon, and Caballero. That's the lineup for the Yankees today. Will Warren pitches for New York. Miles Miklasz for the Cardinals. We'll come back and we'll visit with Stifel CEO Ron Kruszewski. Chief Robert Tracy is with us in studio for the show. Chris Blair, GM of Worldwide Technology Raceway. We'll continue to follow your questions and comments if you want to jump in there on YouTube, X, and Facebook as we go to Lutz Pfannenstiel at 11:15, John Mozeliak at 11:30, Bernie Miklasz will be with us at 11:45. Packed show today. Sports on a Sunday morning from the Stifel Sports Studio. We'll be right back.
Summer is here. Time to enjoy baseball, barbecues, and the shade of your trees. When it comes to tree care, call the certified arborist at Gamma Tree Experts. Hi, I'm Tim Gamma. Protect your valuable trees from storm damage or devastating insects such as the emerald ash borer. Knowledge and quality are hallmarks of our reputation. For pruning, spraying, fertilization, or removals, call Gamma Tree Experts today at 314-725-6159 or visit us at gammatree.com. Your trees deserve the best care.
Blair.
Feel like your paycheck barely keeps up with your life? At the Financial Freedom Seminar, learn how real people are building passive income and retiring early using real estate. It's all happening live in St. Louis with Lifestyles Unlimited, September 27th and 28th. You'll leave with a step-by-step plan to change your future. Text radio to 88007. That's live in St. Louis, September 27th and 28th. Text radio to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007.
KMOX Weekend at your service, sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation.
Calling all future sportscasters. Sharpen your skills and learn from the best of the Missouri Broadcasters Association Sportscasters Forum, Tuesday, September 16th in St. Louis. Join Cardinals beat reporters, broadcasters, and the legendary John Rooney, the voice of the Cardinals, for insider sessions on play-by-play, interviewing, reporting, and more. Then cap the day with a Cards-Reds game at Busch Stadium. Open to college students and broadcasting pros. Just $10 for students, lunch, and a game ticket. Space is limited. Register by September 2nd at MissouriBroadcasters.org.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-207-4545. That's 800-207-4545. Once again, that's 800-207-4545.
Now, back to the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning on 104.1 KMOX. From the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, here is Tom Ackerman.
Cardinals are making moves here. Just announced they have selected the contract of outfielder Nathan Church from Memphis. He will wear number 27. That's from the Cardinals just moments ago. They've also recalled left-hander Anthony Veneziano. He has been recalled from Memphis. Roderick Munoz has been optioned to Memphis, and Victor Scott II has been placed on the 10-day IL. So they put Vic on the IL. This is a left ankle sprain for Vic. He came down on it pretty hard. Looked like he might have twisted it when he hit the wall trying to catch that Aaron Judge home run, then came down on it. He has been placed on the 10-day IL with that ankle sprain. And Nathan Church, let me tell you, Nathan Church is a player. He can hit. He hits with power, but he hits into gaps. And mostly what's excited me is that he has a cannon of an arm. So I think he's a good player. Nathan Church has been called up. We'll get to a little bit more information from John Mozeliak on that in an hour as to why those moves are made. The chief of police for the city of St. Louis, Robert Tracy, is with us in studio. Larry said, stop with the wild card. The roster is so bad. I never said wild card, Larry. I mean, a lot of broadcasts. Chief did, but he's a Yankee fan. He's trying to pump us up a little bit, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, never give up.
Yeah. I've never, I said this from the beginning. I'm not going down that path, Larry. So I'm with you on that. This is Kevin Nixon said, what does down 50% in crime mean? He's asking for some actual numbers.
Well, if you take a look at slmpd.org/stats, you can go take a look at those numbers. You don't have to hear from the police chief. We break it down not only by the citywide, we break it down by patrol area, break it down by the 6 districts, and we also break it down by neighborhood. There's 88 neighborhoods. So downtown is one of the neighborhoods. Downtown West is another neighborhood. You can take a look at comparative analysis versus 2022 when the new plans and the type of methodology I bring in. I talked about this, Tom, early on that, it's a different playbook. We got talented players that make it to the NFL, but you get a different playbook and they're going out and executing it. So you're talking about murders, rapes, robberies, aggravated assaults, felony thefts, and motor vehicle thefts, and burglaries are in there as well. And you total them out. And, felony thefts are the car break-ins I'm talking about. Go take a look at those numbers to see how much they've come down, the reported deaths of people breaking into vehicles. So you'll see that. So I'm not saying everything's rosy. We got a lot of work to do. but it's certainly progress. And when you see progress, there's momentum of where we used to be. And then we got so much more work to do, but let's build off of that. So this is no victory lap to the caller. I just want to make sure that they know we're going in the right direction.
I want to ask you about July 4th, because you said for a couple of weeks what you were going to do, and then you did execute this. There have been problems of people shooting fireworks in the streets during the 4th, and that actually turned into gunfire, and people were shot in downtown St. Louis on 4th of July's in the past. This time around, you said, we are going to be proactive. We are going to get the juveniles with backpacks and search them. And if they are found with fireworks, we're going to call the parents, and then the parents will be subject to some legal action. What were the results of that on July 4th with a lot of people in town, Chief?
Correct. And the phenomenon of social media and these kids getting together, they started posting that we're going to do firework wars. Come downtown to do firework wars. They did that last year, and we saw what happened last year. Someone took out a gun and fired at a few juveniles after that. These kids are coming downtown. There's no social construct of a neighborhood. They're coming from all over, coming from the county, coming from the city, coming from East St. Louis. So when they get together, we got to get some control on it. We have to set the tone early. And the men and women, I was broadcasting and forecasting what we're going to do. If you come downtown and you bring fireworks and then you're out after curfew and you're juveniles, we will make sure that we're going to put you under arrest. We're going to make sure whatever crime that you're committing or violations, we're going to take you to a reunification center, I called it, and your parents are going to be called, and we're going to be summoning the parents on attributing delinquency of a juvenile. It's called, and it's a municipal code. So we called the parents to come down to get them. One parent came down and picked her son up. And after we summoned her, she went back and released her son again with fireworks. We picked them up again. She had to come back down and we summoned her again. We picked up a 13-year-old with a 9mm gun in his waistband. We picked up juveniles up to 9 guns on these individuals. So we set the tone early, and you know what? And it's actually worked. Go proactively doing this. Everybody says that doesn't work, but you know what? You have to give it a try. And sometimes some of these parents are surprised the actions of the children when they drop them off, what they're doing. We want to educate them to that, and hopefully we can correct that behavior.
Do you have the resources to do that more often?
We put out a thing called cruising, and we do things where you see people come downtown and they want to do slideshows. They want to do things, social media on the arch. We do a very, very good job of making sure that we sometimes even spike vehicles when they don't comply to being pulled over. And we do that with the people coming downtown. So please don't do this in St. Louis. It's dangerous for all of us. We do have a large population of people walking. So we've asked them not to do it, but when they do it, we will take their cars. We will confiscate them. We will summon you. We want to create a sense, the sense of lawlessness is over. We're going to continue to do this. Do we have it? We have to be very good at how we do our planning, because we are short on police officers. I knew this coming in, but I also know that we're starting to get more officers back in this profession, and hopefully we'll start seeing some raises so we can be competitive with the other jurisdictions and start to bolster our ranks back at the budgeted strength. And we'll be so much better within these strategies with more police officers. But in the meantime, never surrender. We'll get it done with the amount of police officers we have. Sometimes you have to use overtime, strategic directed patrols, but we're going to continue to do this and then bring more people into this profession, because times are changing. More people are coming back into this noble profession, and the future is bright.
How does it work with a team like, let's say, St. Louis City SC? They do a lot of outdoor activity, parades of fans going through and people eating and drinking and walking the streets. They have a game day on, let's say, Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening. How far in advance? What are those conversations like, and how do you execute your plan?
Well, each sports team has a head of security, and they have liaisons that will talk about what the needs are, how many people they hiring. We work with their security. They do use off-duty police officers. You'll see some from other jurisdictions, especially today. You'll see them from other jurisdictions. So they do hire out additional security within what we can assign. And we complement each other, and all these events are covered. We talk about every single day. There's meetings that happen within headquarters with our senior leadership, and then we work with the security personnel assigned to the respective teams and have a great relationship. You have to make sure we're prepared, because we got to keep the city safe. We want people to come downtown. We want people to be safe. We want them to enjoy these sporting events.
took my daughter to the IndyCar race, and one of her favorite things, I have a picture of her holding up her phone to take video of the police tribute laps that they made.
That was nice.
Which was, it just, gives you chills to think about it. And then they do one lap, and then they do a second lap with the lights and the sirens blaring and helicopters overhead. It is a sight to see. It is unification, if you will, of all of the area departments.
I mean, even yesterday, we had book giveaways at South Patrol. We had the helicopter land. We had all our units out there, and these kids are really getting to know us and know that are human beings. We have families. We are people too. We have all the struggles everybody else has, and we're out doing and trying to keep people safe. We want them to get to know us and trust us because that's the main thing police officers do. We're in a life of service. It's not about just arresting people. It's about helping people. And the more they get to know us, know about our profession, seeing things like what your daughter saw, we want to bring people into it because I've been in my 42nd year if I stayed in the NYPD, other than moving to different police departments. And if I had to do this all over again, I'd do the same job all over again because it's incredible when you're in it, and then the reward you get back from the amount of effort you put into it, you come out ahead.
St. Louis Police Chief Robert Tracy with us. I'm Tom Ackerman. When we come back, we'll hear from the General Manager of Worldwide Technology Raceway, Chris Blair. He is standing by for a visit. They have a huge event coming to Madison, Illinois in just a few weeks. We'll be back in a moment. The Stifel Sports Studio, a reminder, the Stifel Charity Classic is that same weekend, September 5th through the 7th at Norwood Hills Country Club. And the PGA Tour champions, Legends of Golf, will be in town. We have a lot coming to St. Louis in very short time. Back in a moment on KMOX. Calling all future sportscasters. Sharpen your skills and learn from the best of the Missouri Broadcasters Association Sportscasters Forum, Tuesday, September 16th in St. Louis. Join Cardinals beat reporters, broadcasters, and the legendary John Rooney, the voice of the Cardinals, for insider sessions on play-by-play, interviewing, reporting, and more. Then cap the day with a Cards-Reds game at Busch Stadium. Open to college students and broadcasting pros, just $10 for students, lunch, and a game ticket. Space is limited. Register by September 2nd at MissouriBroadcasters.org.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan, along with Dr. Colleen Bosler from the Audiology Center. Doctor, tell us a little something about the history of the Audiology Center.
At the Audiology Center, we care about our patients. They are like our family. For us, we want everyone to feel comfortable and confident in their choice to work with us. We ensure best practices for our patients, which include real ear measurements and testing to ensure the best possible outcomes for everyone with their hearing aids. Dr. Fahn started the Audiology Center in 1982, and I purchased the practice in 2017. Dr. Adam Voss joined us about a year ago, and we all want to use our educational backgrounds and our passion for hearing care to help everyone reconnect to their loved ones. We have been around for 43 years, and we want to earn your trust in your hearing care needs. We have 3 locations. Call us at 636-441-7470 or visit us online at theaudiologycenterstl.com.
You might know Graybar for cable and connectivity, but there's one more thing you should know us for that can help optimize your project's total value, like our comprehensive electronic solutions for security, AV, wireless, and networking, or our specialized job site services like material staging and kitting, or maybe our logistics specialists who can help you identify efficiencies and ensure just-in-time delivery. So consider what one more thing you may need to optimize your bottom line and get to know us for that. Yep, Graybar does that.
We all have different ideas of the perfect retirement, but they all depend on the same thing, not running out of money. And preparing for retirement can sometimes be overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be. Find out how to build your retirement on your terms. Join host Steve All for the All Financial Hour, Saturday mornings at 10 or Sunday evenings at 6, right here on KMOX. You can also visit yourmoneymattersstl.com for more details.
Hey, it's Matt Pauley for i3 Broadband, the internet provider in the Pauley household. I think you'd love it if you had them as well. We've got the 2 gig package at our home, 2 gig upload, 2 gig download mirrored, and we're spending less money than we did with the cable company for lesser service. Plus, right now, they've got savings over $400 beyond their already low standard pricing. You got questions? They've got answers. Call 877-976-0710 888-878-3811. And they've got people there who can answer all your questions, or head to their website, i3broadband.com.
Now, back to the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning on 104.1 KMOX. From the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, here is Tom Ackerman.
New York native St. Louis Police Chief Robert Tracy with us for the Cards Yankees series, as he was last year. It's great to have him, and great to be joined by the general manager of Worldwide Technology Raceway, Chris Blair. Say hello to the chief, and always great to have you on KMOX.
Well, thanks, Tom. Hello, Chief. Thanks for being on the show today.
Support what you do for law enforcement. It's really incredible and great to speak with you.
Yeah,
great.
You do a lot, Chris, and I know that there's a lot of planning when it comes to NASCAR Cup. Enjoy Illinois 300. The playoff race will be here the weekend of September 5th through the 7th with the city, isn't there, Chris? I mean, you got a lot of your fans are right here in downtown.
Oh, yeah, and that's one of the things we try to do is engage the entire community. And, whether it's, as you mentioned, a lot of the things that we do with the law enforcement community, we're doing a lot this year also with everybody that's working on the tornado relief program. We've had a big presentation. I had a group of them join us there. I think 2,700 of the relief and tornado workers joined us for the IndyCar event. Working with those folks, and we're putting a similar program in place for NASCAR weekend as well. We're going to be honoring our law enforcement community, our military community, as well as all those tornado relief workers. So there's some big plans out there, and we've got a lot of folks working on it right now.
Chris, that was the goal from the beginning, was to bring everybody together. I feel like you, Curtis Francois, you want to build something big in the Metro East, obviously, and this is the biggest sports event, probably event that the Metro East has ever had. 4 years in a row now, but you also, there was a goal, and go into that a little bit if you would, to align with NASCAR to make sure that everybody can enjoy your event.
Yeah, and that's one of the things. NASCAR's really got some great programs in place. Kids 12 and under are free on the Xfinity races, and there's just a lot of things that we've tried to incorporate in a lot of their other programs as well, whether it's their STEM programs, the Draft for Diversity program. There's just so many of those things. And what we try to do is we assign various members of our team, our full-time staff. We don't outsource any of this. We get all of our teammates, they're in the office, ticket staff members, marketing folks, and we all just jump in and help out with these projects because we want to be part of the community, and we believe strongly in community awareness. And NASCAR has those programs out there, so we can then speak firsthand on how everything is getting done and make sure that it meets the expectations, which are very high expectations of Curtis Francois. And we want to make sure that everybody that we represent, whether it's Worldwide Technology or Enjoy Illinois, that they are all being shown in the best light. And that's what we do with all of those NASCAR programs.
We're getting closer here to this playoff race. Obviously, NASCAR Cup is getting tight. It's intense. There's drama. That's what you wanted this time of year.
I wish I could sit back and enjoy all the drama, but we're 3 weeks away from a race. So like last night, I'm watching the race as it's unfolding there at Richmond. And the whole time, it's like I keep getting distracted because we've got guys out there working at the racetrack, and they're contacting me on painting projects that are going on Saturday night, just things like that. But it's 3 weeks away. And man, I tell you what, it's an interesting scenario, what all's going on there with, my buddy Alex Bowman finishes second last night. And he actually moves down and he's on the bubble for making it into the race with that win that Austin Dillon had. So, Daytona this coming weekend is going to be really exciting, and that's going to set that field for the playoffs. That way we'll know exactly who's going to be in the show. And right now, it's already shaping up. It's going to be a powerhouse event. And the one I keep looking at, trying to figure out what's going to happen with, is Shane Van Gisbergen, the road racing specialist. He's won 4 races. He secured a playoff spot, but he's terrible on ovals. So that's it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out when he gets to our place.
You mentioned Xfinity, and I think that's important because I don't think people realize that Xfinity, formerly the Busch Series, has not been here since 2010. Isn't that right, Chris?
Yeah, that's the last time it was here. It wasn't the Xfinity Series. It had another name before that. And it's funny, it'll make one appearance here as Xfinity. I guess this week they're making a big announcement about the new title sponsor for that series coming up pretty soon. It's going to have a different name. But and when you look back at the history of both our racetrack and of that series, that used to be the Busch Grand National Series and all those other things. The races here at what was Gateway International Raceway, They were absolutely incredible. Those moments, the Carl Edwards battles with Brad Keselowski, and just the Dale Jr. moments of him winning here. It's a great page out of that series history, and all the races were memorable. And I was just talking with Justin Allgaier, the former champion or defending champion, just the other day. He thinks the racing is going to be absolutely amazing because the cars, the way they've been set up and adjusted and everything, he thinks they're going to really put on a good show on that Saturday night. And everybody loves those races, those Saturday night races under the lights. And that's exactly what we've got with the return of the Xfinity Series, which we're happy to announce a new sponsor this week with New Way. And the race is going to be sauced by Blues Hog Barbecue. So 2 St. Louis companies stepping up to help us bring another great race to town.
Love that Blues Hog Barbecue. I wanted to ask you also about the music that you are unveiling here, because you did announce the Confluence Music Festival. There is music that actually starts, I think, going all the way back to Thursday on some of the campground stages, right, Chris?
Oh yeah, that's one of the things we're doing. We're really getting behind our camping program. So we're having kickoff parties for the campers. So we've got bands starting on Thursday evening, 2 bands Thursday night in the campground. I think we have 3 bands now on tap for Friday evening out there. And then Saturday it moves to the stages inside the racetrack. So we've got the one act that gets announced, I believe, at 10 a.m. tomorrow. He's had a show last night in the area. I can't say too much more about it. But I will give the hint that Dave Chappelle does a great job impersonating him. So that's the hint for today on the show. But we have him, Adam Wainwright, playing post-race for the Xfinity race, and my buddy Tim Duggar, who has played at the Grand Ole Opry a lot. He's wrapping up Saturday evening. And then when we get into Sunday, Bill Murray and his blood brothers, Ella Langley, who's arguably one of the hottest rising stars in country music. And then we also have John Party for the post race. And the big news I got the other day is he's requested a pyrotechnics permit for his show. So that means we're going to have some pyro along with music after the race.
I know you like that. Fun. This is Mr. Pyro right here. Chris Blair sets off those unbelievable explosions on the backstretch that make national news every time he does it. Last thing. So it looks like a 2:00 green flag, 1:25. I'm talking about Sunday for the driver intros and all the pre-race activities. What is the number one piece of advice, other than buy a ticket because you're probably running out, that you would give people about Sunday, September 7th?
Well, one thing I want to make sure that everybody is very aware of, especially those of you who've been every year, is that the race is actually starting 40 minutes earlier than what we normally have started in the past. So every year it's always been around a 2:40 green flag. So that's going to be right at just a few minutes after 2:00 is when we go green. So that means if you were, your other race day rituals, just back them all up about 40 minutes and come see us. But we got some great programming early in the day, especially Kenny Wallace Live. And this year, Kenny has got Ross Chastain, Alex Bowman, and Kyle Larson with him for his pre-race show, which leads right into Bill Murray. So it's going to be probably the wildest, craziest Kenny Wallace Live show we've ever done. And that's going to be taking place at 10:00 on Sunday morning. So make sure you're there in time to see that show because it's absolutely spectacular.
Well, ever since I partnered with you back when you were trying to get a NASCAR Cup race, I had a strong belief in you and Curtis Francois and what you were trying to do and your great staff. And these are good times for Worldwide Technology Raceway. There's no doubt about that. I remember years ago when I would bring up NASCAR Cup and people would say they'll never get one. Never going to happen. And these were big names too. Never going to happen. Well, how about 4 in a row in a playoff race? Chris Blair, always appreciate you. WWTRaceway.com. Can't wait for September 5th through the 7th.
All right, Tom. We'll probably be talking to you again a couple more times between now and then. Yeah, we're pumped up.
Thanks buddy. Great to be with you. Chief Robert Tracy is with us in studio. I just love it. I love the big events coming to the St. Louis area. That's what it's all about, you know?
Right. And the crowds that it brings, the hotels, the business it brings in, the restaurants. And, that's why you have to keep downtown safe. You have to make sure that people feel safe here. And these are the type of things that we're always talking about and trying to continue to do and improve on.
1 minute to go. So I want to close on this with you. And thank you so much for sitting in for the full hour. What do you love about the game of baseball in particular? What was it about this sport and what continues to draw your interest in a sport that we want to be as big as it's ever been?
I think it's the one thing. I mean, we grew up on modest means. My father was a Bronx homicide detective. My mother stayed at home before she became a nurse when we grew up. my sister that's with us, and my 2 other brothers. It was the one time that we got together, and it was a family event, and we were able to go somewhere, and that felt so special. Although we can only get into the bleachers, the cheap seats, but sure enough, Bobby Mercer was out there, and he was the center fielder that came in after Mickey Mantle, and there was a lot of fans that he made things exciting. But it was a family event, and it was exciting for me to go somewhere with my father, with my and just go with him and just spend time as a family. And I think that's what we can do with sports, and then spend time and then enjoy an event. And I think that's what always brings me back, that feeling of walking into a stadium. It brings me back to my childhood, which I thought was great. Although, I grew up in the Bronx, but I wouldn't do it any other way. And there are safe places in the Bronx, just like there are in St. Louis. So people, sometimes you get a bad rap, but there's a great place to grow up as well as St. Louis.
Well said. He likes the Cardinals, but I hope the Yankees lose today. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
Chief Robert Tracy with us. We'll be back after the news.
Gain a global perspective and specialized skills that many of today's top employers are seeking with an MBA from University of Maryland Global Campus. Study online and complete your degree in just 16 months for about $21K. Choose from MBA specializations in global business, marketing, HR, finance, and more. No application fee if you apply by September 3rd. Learn more at umgc.edu. That's umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
If you're still waiting for a sign, here's another one. At California Psychics, we reject 98% of the psychics who apply to work for us. So we only connect you with the best. That's how we can guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. And right now, new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. If that's not a sign, I don't know what is. Dramatic sound effect incoming. Experience the joy of certainty at CaliforniaPsychics.com.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call the Lance Story Law Firm today and let us get between you and the IRS. We'll protect your rights, including your right to appeal or even your right to take the IRS to tax court. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney team who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Story Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis, or visit Lance, DRURY, law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm, 314-260-6120.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Wendy Gillette. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky was in Brussels at the European Union headquarters before his meeting with President Trump tomorrow at the White House.
We are deciding what we are going to discuss in Washington.
U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff says Russian President Vladimir Putin agreed at his summit with the president to allow Ukraine a security guarantee to help end the war there. He spoke on CNN.
I described the ceasefire as the interim move where you would then negotiate towards a peace deal. We made so much progress at this meeting with regard to all the other ingredients necessary for a peace deal that President Trump pivoted to that place.
Hurricane Erin was downgraded to a Category 3 storm. The National Hurricane Center's Richard Pash.
Any immediate threat to any land areas at the moment, but there are
the outer bands of the hurricane that are producing some strong winds. So we do have some watches and warnings in effect for the Turks and Caicos.
A one-day strike in Israel is trying to exert pressure to get hostages who are still in Gaza released. The BBC's Mike Thompson.
Crowds of flag-waving and chanting protesters, some donning bright yellow ribbons, have brought traffic to a halt on many roads. Police using water cannon have struggled to contain them. The protests and the one-day strike that's come with them have been organised by members of the Hostages and Missing Families Forum. They say their government's expanded offensive in Gaza amounts to a death sentence for the 20 hostages still thought to be alive. Israel's far-right finance minister Bezalel Smotrich has insisted that the protesters' actions play into the hands of Hamas.
Striking flight attendants with Air Canada say they'll defy a return-to-work order from the government. CBS's Ali Bauman from New York's LaGuardia Airport.
Air Canada told the government it will take up to 10 days to restore full service, expected to affect 130,000 customers each day, 25,000 of them outside of Canada.
Pope Leo spent time with some of the church's most needy.
Pope Leo XIV spent the last Sunday of his summer vacation with several dozen refugees, homeless and poor people, and the church volunteers who helped them. He celebrated a special mass in Castel Gandolfo in the hills south of Rome. The Pope told them that in the church, everyone is poor and precious, but all share the same dignity. He then shared a lunch with them of lasagna and roast veal at the Pope's summer lakeside estate. Sabina Castelfranco, CBS News, Rome.
This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
At 11:03, we have lots of sun and 90 degrees downtown at the Gateway Arch. Good morning. I'm Scott Jagow. Our top story, Missouri Republicans believe it's likely Governor Kehoe will call for a special session on redistricting. President Trump has designs on an extra House seat for the GOP ahead of next year's midterms. It'd be created mostly by redrawing Kansas City, but KMOX Democratic analyst Michael Kelly says the repercussions would be statewide and possibly a bad deal for the legislature. He says Republicans may want to get rid of the filibuster, an important tool for the minority Democrats in the state Senate.
If the Republicans were to implement what's called the previous question, it would end the filibuster and pass this, and I think it would blow up the legislature for years to come because there would be no trust in the process.
Democrats are still upset about Republicans using previous question to go after voter-approved measures like paid sick leave and abortion rights. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker signing a package of bills designed to protect workers.
Governor Pritzker says paying workers does not hold Illinois back. Instead, it advances Illinois.
And I have worked very hard to stand up for our small businesses. In fact, we've reduced the franchise tax in the state of Illinois. We've made it easier for them to do business in the state of Illinois. We continue to look at how we can advance small businesses.
Pritzker adds many people in the trades work with or are part of small businesses. The governor says this is about advancing working families across the entire state of Illinois, including small businesses. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
A big reward being offered in Clayton for the hate crime investigation there.
The Anti-Defamation League and the Jewish Federation of St. Louis are offering a $30,000 reward for information leading to an arrest and conviction in the investigation where 3 cars were burned and anti-Semitic graffiti was found on Westmoreland Avenue in Clayton back on August 5th.
Our position on this is that we come into this from a background of record levels of anti-Semitic incidents across the country, including 105 in Missouri that were reported last year.
Jordan Kadosh of ADL St. Louis says anyone with information is asked to call Crime Stoppers
at 1-866-371-8477 and make sure that justice is served for the victims.
Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
A heat advisory remains in effect through 8 p.m. tomorrow. Expect AccuWeather real field temperatures to top out between 105 and 110 this afternoon and again later tomorrow. Very hot and humid this afternoon with sun and some clouds and a thunderstorm in some areas through early evening, high 98. Fair skies, warm and muggy overnight, those 77. Sunshine and some clouds, quite hot and humid tomorrow, high 97. Clouds and sun, hot and humid Tuesday, a chance of an afternoon thunderstorm, high 93. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Right now it is 91 in St. Peter's, 92 in Florissant, and we have 90 sunny skies downtown at the Arch. I'm Scott Jagow, KMOX News.
From KMOX Sports, this is the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning. Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. Now from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, here is Tom Ackerman.
Back for a second hour, Lutz Pfannenstiel, John Mozeliak, and Bernie Miklasz with us on KMOX. Thanks to Chief Robert Tracy for spending an hour with us. We also heard from Chris Blair, the general manager of Worldwide Technology Raceway. Actually got a couple of questions, ended up being very civil conversations about why do you have John Mozeliak on the show every week? I got a couple of those today. So let me go back a little bit, just read the questions, and then I'll answer as I did. This is one from STL Mac. Mac said, I wish we'd cancel the John Mozeliak segment. Nobody really wants to listen to his patient's excuse for him mailing it in. Hope he enjoyed this year while the team continues to implode. So I responded that I have to have him on, Mac. And I said, until Chaim Bloom starts doing interviews with us, we're going to talk to John Mozeliak. No one is enjoying this year. Appreciate you, though. I always enjoy your commentary. He went on to understand that, said that he's just talking out loud in frustration, and he understands. Then I had someone, Bob, said he'd been in journalism his entire adult life, even in his late teen years. So I asked this question from that standing. What is the news value now of interviewing Mozeliak weekly? And I asked respectfully, because I have respect for you, said Bob. I said, if you noticed, Ken Rosenthal last night on the Fox broadcast was citing his conversation with John Mozeliak. Now, why is that? Because Mozeliak's the president of baseball operations. And until Chaim Bloom becomes president of baseball operations and is available to answer questions more accurately, then we are turning to the highest ranking official that we are allowed to talk to, and that is John Mozeliak. Bob said that he understood that, but he's asking about news value. And I said, well, let me ask it this way. If I have questions about roster decisions, who would you like me to ask? And there was a bit of a pause, and Bob said that he said at this point, ask me. He goes, I say that with slight sarcasm. And he admits that maybe he's coming at this a bit as a fan and not as a journalist. He's upset with Mozeliak, and I understand that. I get it. I mean, I can't let my disappointment and my emotions get the better of me when my job is to ask questions about information and get the answers for you. So Nathan Church comes up. Vic Scott goes down. Arenado's hurt. Donovan and Contreras are hurt, but not playing, but still on the roster and available on the bench today. So are they playing with a short bench today? And why are they doing that? And where's JJ Weatherholt? And what's the situation there? I mean, I don't know who you want me to ask those questions to. So John Mozeliak is the person that's going to answer those questions. And then, when Chaim Bloom becomes available and takes over for him, then we'll ask him those questions. It's just that simple. This is what we do on the show. We're not playing games here. You just have the guy on at 11:30. And when he can't do it, he can't do it. Now, the next 2 weeks, we don't have shows, unfortunately, but it's because of early Cardinals games. We have 11:10 starts, I think, both the 11:15 starts, both next 2 Sundays. So we won't have sports on a Sunday morning, so you won't hear from Mo. So this is secondary, way secondary for me, but take a wild guess which is the most listened segment on the show. I don't do it for that reason, but it happens to be Mozeliak every time. It gets the most numbers of all of our segments. I put him on there because he's the head of baseball for the Cardinals, and we ask questions, and that's the segment. So he'll do that at 11:30. Same thing I do with Lutz Pfannenstiel at 11:15. He comes on every week. We ask him questions about what happened with the team. So it's a job. I literally get paid to do that on the show. Now, I also have a little fun. And we will have an opinion segment with Bernie Miklasz at 11:45 that I assure you will be a lot of fun. And we'll discuss what Bernie has to say about all of that. I run point on the Gas House Gang, where I toss it to Chris Ranji and Bernie and whoever else comes on. And on Tuesday, it's Ollie Marmol. We used to put Ollie Marmol on this show Now we put Ollie Marmol on Tuesday, and we actually expanded. And if you've watched or listened to that show, you know that we ask him questions and he answers them. And he's actually really good at it. So, it's part of the St. Louis Cardinals are the biggest sports entity in this region by far. There's nobody even close. So if you're a soccer, hockey, racing, golf, whatever it is, they're all great. But the Cardinals are overwhelmingly the biggest. And therefore, they have a huge fan base, even if the empty seats don't show that as a visual. That is a statement from the fans that they're tired of it, they're fatigued, and they want answers. And they're going to come back when they get them. So we continue on Sports on a Sunday morning. Here are a couple of pieces of information, by the way, that we'll ask Mo about. Nathan Church is up. He has taken Victor Scott's place. Scott goes on the IL with an ankle sprain. Church is good. He's got a nice arm. Pretty good bat. He's going to play center field today. And here is your lineup for the Cardinals today, taking on the New York Yankees. Mason Wynn, who hit a 3-run homer yesterday for the Cardinals in the leadoff spot, is no longer in the leadoff spot. That number one hitter today is Lars Nootbaar. He's going to lead off and play left field. Batting second is Mason Wynn. Third is Alec Burleson at first base. Ivan Herrera is the DH batting fourth. Nolan Gorman bats fifth and plays third base. Jordan Walker's in right batting sixth. Joel Pozo's the catcher today batting seventh. Thomas Sajaci at second base batting eighth. Nathan Church will bat ninth and play center field today for the Cardinals. Miles Michaelis is the pitcher, and the Yankees are going to face Michaelis with this lineup today. Leading off is Trent Grisham. Grisham had 4 hits and 4 runs scored yesterday. Ben Rice, who had 7 RBIs, will bat second and catch. Aaron Judge, the DH, bats third. He hit a home run yesterday that Scott almost grabbed and then got hurt on. Bellinger, who was out yesterday, is in right, batting fourth. Chisholm is the second baseman, batting fifth. Goldschmidt at first base, batting sixth. Paul Goldschmidt is going to get the love from the crowd today, batting sixth. Dominguez in left, batting seventh. McMahon, the third baseman, bats eighth. And Caballero, the shortstop, bats ninth. That's your lineup for the Yankees. They're going to throw Warren against Michaelis. When we come back, we'll talk a little soccer. Lutz Pfannenstiel on Sports on a Sunday morning. We're from the Stifel Sports Studio, and a reminder, the Stifel Charity Classic, September 5th through the 7th at Norwood Hills Country Club, the PGA Tour Champions event. Back after this on KMOX.
Home title theft. It's on the rise, and it's devastating if it happens to you. Listen to the alarming words of an actual home title thief.
I don't need to know your date of birth and social security number. All I have to do is go to public records, create a document, and file that document. And then I can borrow against the house or sell the house. You may have no clue until you find out that your house has been sold or till several loans or several banks are foreclosing on you.
For pennies a day, Home Title Lock puts a virtual barrier of protection around your home's title with 24/7 monitoring. The instant they detect any tampering, you'll get an alert. And that's bad news for home title thieves. So when's the last time you checked on the title to your home? Find out if you're already a victim with your free title scan and complete title report. $100 value free with sign up. Just go to HomeTitleLock.com and sign up in minutes. That's HomeTitleLock.com. HomeTitleLock.com.
Feel like your paycheck barely keeps up with your life? At the Financial Freedom Seminar, learn how real people are building passive income and retiring early using real estate. It's all happening live in St. Louis with Lifestyles Unlimited, September 27th and 28th. You'll leave with a step-by-step plan to change your future. Text radio to 88007. That's September 27th and 28th. Text radio to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007 now.
There's been a lot of talk about tariffs, how it's going to do this and it's going to destroy the economy. Prices are going to go up. Depending where you get your news from, where your information from, it's going to make everything unaffordable and so on and so forth. Tariffs have absolutely zero effect on the heating and cooling equipment that we purchase. So don't be misled and fooled that if you're told that you have to buy something now because of tariffs, call me. That's the nicest thing I can say. Call me for a second opinion. Bart Inman, one easy number, Missouri and Illinois. There's only one. If you do not dial this number, it will be the wrong number. It is area code 314-293-2600. Again, easiest number, Missouri and Illinois, 314-293-2600, or on the computer, bartinman.com. Remember, 0% financing is available for most up to 60 months. Fantastic.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments including pills, chews, and more. 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, HIMS.com/JOY.
Cards manager Ollie Marble joins the Gas House Gang every Tuesday at noon. Sponsored by Siteman Cancer Center on the voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX. Now, back to the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning on 104.1 KMOX. From the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, here is Tom Ackerman.
Welcome back. It is Sports on a Sunday morning. We're joined by the sporting director for St. Louis City SC, Lutz Pfannenstiel on KMOX. Good morning, Lutz.
Good morning, Tom. How's it going?
Going well. Quick turnaround for you. A late game last night. Didn't start till 9:02 up in Chicago, and it ended as many of yours have ended, where you took a lead and gave up some late goals. I know that has to be frustrating as you fell to Chicago Fire 3-2.
Yeah, I think the performance overall was promising. We did create chances. We were leading, but the result was obviously not what we were looking for. We got punished again very late in the game, which becomes a pattern. We need to look in there, but there was also positives. Chicago, they for a long time they didn't make the playoffs. I think for 8 years. I think this year they have a big chance to make it finally, and then really hang in there. They played some good attacking football, and I think we matched that, doing pretty well, especially in the second half. But it doesn't really help you if you don't get the result, and I think that's the one which is the most upsetting part for us, that we did not reward ourselves with at least a draw yesterday.
You had a goal from Tomas Ostrak, you had a goal from Marcel Hartl, and ended up losing this one 3-2 after taking a 2-1 lead in the 59th minute. Lutz, just going into that a little further, obviously if you knew all the answers, you'd be able to fix it. But when you evaluate that, just your initial thought as to why that happens, why those late goals come at you, and why that pattern is there.
Yeah, it's not a fitness part, because we can look into that with the data. So physically, we were able yesterday also with the substitutions to be 100% also towards the end of the game. I think it is more a part, the mental part of the game. You're 2-1 up, and then you kind of we in that feeling now. I would say, sounds funny, but we are scared of winning. And then you do make that mistakes. We drop a little bit deeper and kind of inviting the team to increase the pressure. And that's something we did quite a lot this season, that we're not really finishing the games off. We are 1-0 up, we 2-1 up, and then we just become too passive, drop too deep, and the other team becomes again, I would say, the team which dominates us. And that's not really necessary, because we do have the quality to outplay a team like Portland, or last week like Nashville, or even for lots of the second half Chicago yesterday. But that's that's sometimes the difference. Even winning and losing, you need to be able to close games. You need to be able to put a game to bed, and that's something we'll work on.
I asked you about David Critchley a lot, and you announced actually on this show that you were going to keep him as interim coach through the rest of the year. I do get some questions for listeners that want me to follow up on that and ask you about that, about coaching. Some people suggesting why not go hire a permanent coach now so that the players can get used to that permanent coach. How do you weigh that, as you've already announced that Critch is going to be your man for the rest of the year?
Yeah, Critch is going to be the man for the rest of the year. The players react very positively to him. I think you could see a massive turnaround on the way we play football again. I would say we played some entertaining football. Looking at the last game in Nashville, against Nashville at home, it was entertaining for 90 minutes. Also yesterday for good parts of the game. You can see our principles. You can see the game we want to play. And, I think David really deserves to finish this season. And then we will evaluate what we're going to do for the next year.
Some of the new faces that have come in, Falou Fall got my attention, especially in that Nashville game. He has some skill, doesn't he? And he's a physical player, Lutz.
Yeah, he didn't start yesterday. He just came in from a different country. So I think with Kessler being back, able to start, we had to make a decision, and that was a coach's decision, which was good. That we got Kessler 60 minutes, ramped him up. He's able to probably play now for 90 again, and then brought on Falou in the second part of the game. So yeah, definitely the player for the future, the player who will start a lot of games and will be one of our main players defensively in the future.
Speaking of the future, City 2 continues to roll. So at the same time that you were playing, well, your game got delayed a little bit up in Chicago, but in Arlington, City 2 beats North Texas SC 3-1. Lutz, that's now a 13-game unbeaten streak. They have the top spot in MLS Next Pro, 51 points. What is going well for City 2?
Everything. I mean, they just simply, Tom, they're simply a good team. They're playing some really good football. I think it's a momentum, but it's also a confidence issue. You see the players every day in training, and they just enjoy themselves on the field. And again, yesterday, very early on in the game, it was 0-0 just before the buzz of halftime, and Mackay Joyner scored again. But you always had the feeling they are in control. You always had the feeling they really play well together as a unit. And yeah, that's at the moment the difference. They really reward themselves with a good performance with points, and that's great to see. So yeah, great position. 6 more games to go before the playoffs are starting, and I really hope we can hold on to that number 1 spot, because it will guarantee us lots of home games in the playoffs as well, which would be great for the fans.
If you want to catch City 2, they'll be there on Sunday at 6 p.m. Sunday, August 24th. Against cross-state rivals Sporting KC2. That's going to be at Energizer Park on Sunday night. I know they'd appreciate your support. City 2, if you want to get a glimpse of the future. As for City, they'll be playing on the road at Vancouver. So a lot of travel back with you, Lutz, as you head back up to the Northwest this time around. How's Vancouver?
Yeah, Vancouver at the moment, one of the top teams actually in the country or in the league. Doing extremely well. They just signed Thomas Müller from Bayern Munich, a veteran player, which gave them also, I think, a big momentum, especially with the fans. It will be one of the first games he plays there, so they will be out there supporting the new boy. Yeah, I think they're playing for the title this season, which is a bit of a surprise, because not many people had them on their short list for the favorites. But they're doing well. They got a new coach in from Denmark who did extremely well when really getting his philosophy integrated there. They have some really good individual players, and it will be a nice challenge for us. I think it's with 8 games to go. That's a good opportunity for us to play against a top team in the league. And we do look good, and we play often very good against the stronger teams like Nashville or Portland. So I'm confident that we can go to Vancouver and play a good game.
It's always great to hear from you. We can always count on you to join us on the show, and especially after such a short night, we appreciate your time very much, Lutz. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Tom.
The sporting director for St. Louis City SC, Lutz Pfannenstiel, on Sports on a Sunday Morning. We'll come back. The Cardinals president of baseball operations, John Mozeliak, will be with us. Then at 11:45, it's Bernie Miklasz, as we get into the Cards and the Yankees for the latter half of the show. It's going to be a 1:15 first pitch for Miles Michaelis. 12:20, Joe Pott will have the pregame. He'll have a little bit more info after the noon news, as an afternoon of Cards Yankees getting together at Busch Stadium on a Sunday here on KMOX. You're listening to the Stifel Sports Studio, Sports on a Sunday morning. A reminder, the Stifel Charity Classic is September 5th through the 7th at Norwood Hills Country Club. The Legends of Golf will be here, PGA Tour champions. Check them out. It's Sports on a Sunday morning. Back after this.
KMOX Weekend at your service, sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation.
If you're a homeowner or renter and you sustain damage to your home or personal property from the May 16th tornado and storms, you can apply for FEMA disaster assistance. The deadline to apply is Tuesday, August 26th. You can apply by visiting a disaster recovery center at Union Tabernacle MB Church or the Urban League's Entrepreneurship and Women's Business Center in the city of St. Louis by calling the FEMA helpline at 1-800-621-3362 or visit disasterassistance.gov.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan with McKelvey Homes. All good things must come to an end, and this is your last chance to move to the Preserve. Choose for one of our 6 move-in ready market homes or our magnificent Turnberry display at Mackenzie and Watson Road. Enjoy the many trails, lakes, and loads of wooded common ground at this terrific location. Take advantage of the tremendous savings and special 5.5% 30-year fixed financing on select homes. Visit McKelveyhomes.com and move up to McKelvey.
Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best. On a summer day, summer night, you want to be outside and enjoy the outdoors and do it in luxury. Chesterfield Fence and Deck has done that for so many different people in St. Louis. Durable, stylish, expertly crafted outdoor solutions. And Chesterfield Fence and Deck has been doing it since 1968. Whether you're looking for fences, decks, or a new sunroom even, their dedicated team ensures every project is tailored to your unique needs. You want some sleek vinyl fencing, timeless wood decks? They deliver top-tier quality at Chesterfield Fence and Deck that stands the test of time. If you want to see it in person, you can go to your neighbor's house who got Chesterfield Fence and Deck, or you can just go to their showroom in Chesterfield Valley because it's incredible. It's like walking through someone's neighborhood. A wide range of options, and discover how they can help you create the perfect outdoor space. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, online at chesterfieldfence.com. Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Mention me, Tom Ackerman. You'll receive 20% off your next outdoor project with Chesterfield Fence and Deck.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
This Labor Day weekend, we're celebrating Bob's Discount Furniture's 200th store milestone with the entire Bob's family across the country.
For more than 30 years, we've believed everyone deserves the home they love. That's why we brought our everyday low prices on furniture, mattresses, and more to over 200 locations from coast to coast and counting. Not to mention free treats for the whole family in our cafes. Celebrate Bob's Discount Furniture's 200 store milestone this Labor Day weekend.
Oh, my Bob!
Selling your car online sounds easy. Snap a few pics, list a price, then what? Wait weeks, haggle with strangers? At Suntrip Ford, we actually make it easy to sell your car. Visit Suntrip Ford Kirkwood or Westport, and our expert appraisers will give you a fast, fair offer on the spot. Or skip the trip and get an instant quote at suntripford.com. No guesswork, no games, just the best price. Visit suntripford.com today. Get more at Suntrip Ford.
Now, back to the Great Bar Sports on a Sunday morning on 104.1 KMOX. From the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, here is Tom Ackerman.
Thanks to St. Louis Police Chief Robert Tracy for joining us in studio last hour. It was a lot of fun to visit with the chief and some very important information, of course, about public safety and about attending sporting events in downtown St. Louis. And again, thanks to the folks at Leroy's Tavern in Evansville, Indiana, for sending me the hat that I'm wearing today. When I go to Evansville, I love dropping by, getting a beer at Leroy's. They love the Cardinals there. John Mozeliak, Cardinals president of baseball operations, joins us live on KMOX. Good morning, Mo.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing well. Cards and Yankees today at Busch Stadium. You got some news breaking all over the place here. So let's start with Nathan Church. Victor Scott with a spectacular effort to try to get that Aaron Judge home run. Unfortunately, that comes at a cost, and Nathan Church comes up for Vic, Mo.
Yeah, so obviously, I still don't know exactly like the length we're looking at here, but, tremendous effort, like you said. Stayed in the game, but started to feel some spasms, and then ultimately, diagnosed with a ankle sprain. So, hopefully it's not too long, but it's a great opportunity for Church. It is something that we were considering doing at some point as we got closer to September, just to see what we have with him. So try to make the most of it. Obviously not great news in terms of VC, but at least now we'll get this little window to take a look at what we have, and hopefully take advantage of it.
Tell me a little bit about Church from your perspective. I remember in spring training him having a cannon of an arm. I can tell you that, and a good bat.
Yeah, I think like the thing that I really like about him is sort of that bat to ball skill. Puts the ball in play. He's not someone that is just going to swing for power. So, when you look at that type of play, I think that really fits kind of what we need. And, hopefully he can do that. Obviously it's an adjustment going from AAA to the big leagues, but his overall skill set is, I like his approach at the plate. As you mentioned, he can play all three outfield positions in terms of defense, and has probably the strongest arm we have in the outfield.
The other move that you made was lefty Anthony Veneziano, selected off the Memphis AAA roster, and Roderi Munoz optioned to Memphis. Tell us about the addition of the lefty.
Yeah, obviously he was a waiver claim for us, and we want to just see what we have with him as well. And, the fact is we've been going with one lefty in the pen with King down. So I'll get a chance to, take a look at him, and he's more of a control type pitcher, works the zone, not overpowering stuff, but strike thrower. And, hopefully he can bridge that gap until King's healthy again.
What is your overview of the bullpen so far without Matz, without Maton, and of course, without Helsley? You've been able to distribute some opportunities to other relievers for high leverage situations.
Yeah, obviously this has been a tough week. Not just solely because we gave that game up against Colorado, but again, starting pitching hasn't gone all that deep on a consistent basis. But I think the guys that have gotten the opportunity have made the most of it, and overall it's been fun to watch. But we are trying to win games right now. We're finding ways that we're still in this, so we want to make the most of it.
You've had a short bench the last few days with Wilson Contreras down and Brendan Donovan down. Neither are in the lineup today, but I see them listed as bench players. Just take us into that decision, going with them, and why you've decided to not place either one on the IL.
Yeah, these are always tough decisions. I think in Wilson's case, he's definitely available today. Donnie, if an emergency, but ultimately we're hoping that Wilson's back in the lineup on a regular basis beginning tomorrow, and then Donnie might be a day or two, versus trying to find someone to come up and do that. I think Ollie just feels like if he can navigate what he currently has, he's in a better position than just missing these guys when they are ready to come back and play.
I was watching the game last night, and I heard Kenny Rosenthal cite a conversation that he had with you, and I thought we'd expand on it because he beat me to it. But he asked you about Ollie and his growth, and maybe his possibility of launching into next year as the Cardinals manager and maybe hitting the ground running, so to speak. Just your overall view of Ollie and his growth into becoming a big league manager.
Well, obviously, ultimately, this is not going to be my decision, but having said that, I am a big advocate for Ollie. I think he does a tremendous job. I think he's grown into the role, and candidly, would have never given him the opportunity if we didn't believe that he had the capability of being an excellent major league manager. And so I feel like he's a real asset for the Cardinals. I think he does a tremendous job. I think players respect him. He's well liked, and ultimately, I think he's an ideal guy to continue to guide the Cardinals moving forward.
I know that you have a job to concentrate on here in your final couple of months, but what sort of things are you thinking about the future for yourself?
I haven't really spent a whole lot of time on myself yet. I think part of what I'm most looking forward to is really having nothing to be committed to right away. But clearly, at some point, want to do something. Can't just sit at home or play golf every day. But I do feel like, part of what I've tried to structure with this exit strategy is ultimately be able to take some time away, and really take just sort of an inventory of where I'm at and really what I want to do next.
What's your hope for the organization? A team that you have been with, that you've given a lot to over the last 30 years?
Well, I think the org as a whole is in a pretty good spot. Obviously, I think when you look back over the last 5 or 6 years, we just haven't really hit consistently on the pitching side of things. But, I do think this year and this year's draft, we were able to, take some shots on some arms that normally we don't have opportunities to get. So that, I think, is going to be a big help for the Cardinals moving forward. Obviously, J.J. Weatherholt is an exciting young player that has an enormously bright future. So you combine all of that, and you can see why people are excited about what's going to happen for the Cardinals. So, when you say what I hope for to see, I hope to see that, we can continue what we've really done over the last 30 years. I mean, there have been a few blips in the radar for sure, but, I think with this ownership and what we have coming in the pipeline, it has a bright future.
Weatherholt is special, isn't he? Man, oh man. I mean, there's a temptation, I think, from a lot of people to bring him up here and see him. Why not do that now?
Well, it's really about the future, and ultimately just trying to keep your best players for as long as possible. I understand the temptation. Candidly, I'm probably tempted too, but I think ultimately this cannot be my sole decision, just given the fact that I am not here next year. And again, I feel like where the Cardinals are at, it's a lot of exciting things going on, and you want to try to do what's right for everyone.
John, over the course of your career, you swung a deal for Paul Goldschmidt, and he delivered an MVP. Unfortunately, that 22 season never was able to get off the ground and launch into October like he wanted, but he gave you some big years. What was it like to be reunited with Goldie as he came back to St. Louis this weekend?
Oh, great seeing him. As everybody that knows Goldie that's been around him, what a class act he is, and he is such a special person. And, just knowing that the impact he had here, I think is something that, we all have great appreciation for. And, I do think when I think back to his career, he kind of did what we hoped he would do. I mean, he was a great player for us. We had some success in the postseason. We probably didn't have quite the success we had hoped, but, there were some good runs. And, overall, I think, he is in my mind, he's right on the cusp of a Hall of Famer. And, if he puts together one or two more good years, I think he has a chance.
One of those great players that everybody should model themselves after, and I think the fans will give him his due today. One last thing, another big name, Nolan Arenado. Anything new on his rehab down in Jupiter?
Should have a better sense of where he's at this week. I know our plan is to get our hands on him when we're down in Florida, and then from that standpoint, have a better idea of what that looks like.
Thank you for the time as always. Have a good day today.
All right. Thanks, Tommy.
Thank you. John Mozeliak, Cardinals president of baseball operations, with us on KMOX. Bernie Miklasz, he'll visit with us for the remainder of the show. We'll take a quick break, and we get a lot of Bernie coming up next. It's sports on a Sunday morning from the Stifel Sports Studio.
Feel like everything's clouded by doubt? Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com. Our psychics are available to talk 24/7, and we guarantee if it's not life-changing, it's free. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Check the back seat. Check the back seat.
Gets in your head, right? Good, because every year dozens of children are forgotten in the back seat. Cars get hot fast and can be deadly, so get it in your head. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Wake up informed. Wake up empowered. Wake up to Total Information AM, your morning must.
Hi, this is Debbie Monterey.
I'm Megan Lynch.
This is Tom Ackerman.
From local news to breaking headlines to weather, traffic, and the stories that matter most, we've got you covered before your first sip of coffee. Expert analysis, bright perspectives from the people you trust. Total Information AM. Your day starts here. Mornings beginning at 5 on 104.1 FM. KMOX.
It doesn't take a lot to make a big difference.
That's why we've teamed up with Jerry Kelly Heating and Cooling to bring you 100 acts of kindness.
For the next 6 months, the Chris and Amy Show is challenging you to spread kindness in simple, meaningful ways. No big budget needed.
Write a thank you note, help a neighbor, surprise someone with a smile. It all counts.
Let's prove that kindness is contagious. Share your acts with us by using hashtag 100KindActs.
Because a little kindness goes a long way.
Summer is here. Time to enjoy baseball, barbecues, and the shade of your trees. When it comes to tree care, call the certified arborist at Gamma Tree Experts. Hi, I'm Tim Gamma. Protect your valuable trees from storm damage or devastating insects such as the emerald ash borer. Knowledge and quality are hallmarks of our reputation. For pruning, spraying, fertilization, or removals, call Gamma Tree Experts today at 314-725-6159 or visit us at gammatree.com. Your trees deserve the best care.
Feel like everything's clouded by doubt? Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com. Our psychics are available to talk 24/7, and we guarantee if it's not life-changing, it's free. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
We asked parents to share their journey of adopting teens.
They changed who I am because I can't see life without them in it.
Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. Brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Home title theft. It's on the rise and it's devastating if it happens to you. Listen to the alarming words of an actual home title thief.
I don't need to know your date of birth and social security number. All I have to do is go to public records, create a document, and file that document. And then I can borrow against the house or sell the house. You may have no clue until you find out that your house has been sold or till several loans or several banks are foreclosing on you.
For pennies a day, Home Title Lock puts a virtual barrier of protection around your home's title with 24/7 monitoring. The instant they detect any tampering, you'll get an alert. And that's bad news for home title thieves. So when's the last time you checked on the title to your home? Find out if you're already a victim with your free title scan and complete title report. $100 value free with sign up. Just go to HomeTitleLock.com and sign up in minutes. That's HomeTitleLock.com. HomeTitleLock.com.
Now, back to the Great Bar Sports on a Sunday morning on 104.1 KMOX. From the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, here is Tom Ackerman.
Welcome back. DS Bill said Mo about to call Tom a fanboy again for wanting to call up JJ. That's not true. He just said he would want to call up JJ. So then Mo's a fanboy then.
I mean,
what's up, Bern?
I was going to say, would this gentleman who left the comment, would he kindly explain to us who isn't JJ Weatherholt fan?
Come on, everybody wants him up.
My God, yeah, got to find something to complain about.
What's up, dude?
Everything. Anyway, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. The backstory on that, for people who don't remember that show, is when I said this was in April. This is like after Miklasz got lit up at Fenway. And by the way, I wasn't the only one. Bernie did an entire video on how Miklasz maybe shouldn't be in this rotation. But I said to Mozeliak, I'm wondering how long you can keep Miles Miklasz in this rotation. And he goes, well, I understand that fanboy frustration, but blah, blah, blah. So I got some texts from people like, ooh, he just called you a fanboy. I'm like, no, he didn't. He's saying I'm thinking like a fan. Well, as it turns out, Miklasz got lit up for a lot of this year. But I will say this about Miklasz. Let me start there, Bern, because he's going to make his 196th career start today. That ties Dizzy Dean, the Hall of Famer, for 12th in franchise history. Chris Carpenter's next on the list at 197. He's going to get him too. He pitches better at home than he does on the road. I will give him that. And he came off a very nice start. His last start, maybe there's a way you can just pitch him at home from here on out.
Yeah, I was joking in something that I wrote because I keep hearing, it's no offense to you, but because you're making a joke, you're joking about it actually. But I keep, hearing a lot on the TV broadcast, especially, like he's got a great ERA at home. And my smart alecky thing I said was like, well, that'd be great. Maybe they can bring him back next season, but they're going to have to set up their rotation to only pitch him at home. Could they, how would that work out? Could they do that? I mean, I just think it's a little, I don't know what the word is, but when we talk about his ERA at home is good, but the same people that do that don't point out his ERA on the road is like over 6. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think we got to tell both things there anyway.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, it's just it just wore me out, but it wore me out in April, and I just had to live with it. But it is what it is. And Michael McGreevy ended up being pretty darn good. I guess you could look at it and say we'll never know, but would McGreevy have helped this team? I'm not so sure they're like a playoff team. If McGreevy's in the rotation, might have helped, or maybe having him spend some time at Memphis did let him iron out some things. I have no idea.
Yeah, there's so many things, unfortunately, for the Cardinals, like since late June, have gone wrong. And in other words, swapping out Fetty for McGreevy, which is what they did. By then, I think it was a little too late to matter much. But on the other hand, we're seeing a lot of guys in that rotation like really, really struggle. Where the Cardinals have the second worst starting pitching ERA in the majors since June the 30th, and that's not just on Miles Michaelis. It's on a lot of them. And we all respect Sonny Gray, but I think we also would be honest enough to admit that it's a little frustrating because we know he has great stuff. I mean, we know that when he's right, he's outstanding, but man, there have been, way too many bad starts this season. And I know that he's impacted by the heat in St. Louis and all that. I get it, but it's hard to explain. That's kind of when you're making $25 million a year and then next year it'll be $35 million. I don't think people want to hear about it's hot in St. Louis. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but it's a weird situation. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. I mean, why don't you ask John Tudor how hot it was on the turf in 1985? Right. I mean, come on, man. Why don't you ask Ozzie Smith how hot that turf was on his feet?
Man, all those guys, Bob Gibson, for goodness sake, right?
Yeah.
So it's a different game. The interesting, like last night, because you alluded to in your interview with Mo that Ken Rosenthal was asking him about. He alluded to a conversation he had with Mo about Ollie Marmol, and it was very positive. The other thing was interesting last night. Ken Rosenthal had on the broadcast is that he talked to Sonny Gray, and Sonny Gray says he'd be open to the idea of being traded like in the offseason now. So. That's another thing to put on the list of things for Chaim Bloom to work on, because on one hand, Sonny Gray's still a good player. He's still a good pitcher. Number two, he's really inconsistent now. Number three, I don't know how he will be with another year next to his name. And also, like I mentioned, he's going to make $35 million next year. If the Cardinals could get a couple of really good prospects, especially a starting pitching prospect, that would actually be a really smart move. But it's easy for me to say sitting here in my home office, but it's interesting that Sonny might be changing his mind on that.
We get a look at Nathan Church today. That's bad news for Victor Scott II. I feel bad for him making it what would have been an incredible catch. I mean, one of the all-time greats had he robbed Aaron Judge of all people. But he goes down with a sprained ankle, so we see Church, who the Cardinals like a lot out in that outfield.
I'm excited by this. I've been yapping about Church on and off all year, and I've mentioned Church as one of the reasons why, to me, it's obvious they're going to have to trade one of those left-handed bats in the outfield because I think they really like him a lot. And, he was drafted in the 11th round. By the way, he went to the same high school. In fact, he was classmates with Paul Skeens, El Toro High School in Southern California. But anyway, I was talking to Randy Flores about this on Gas House Gang 3 weeks ago. And Nathan Church was drafted in the 11th round, and he's done nothing but hit, since joining the Cardinals organization. And Randy Flores said, we were kind of fortunate because his high school coach, and maybe he said his college coach was a friend of mine. And he told us, he said, don't look at his hitting. Don't look at his stats. He's been playing with a serious injury that really affects, he can play and he's very good defensively, but it really affects his bat. And so that's not the real guy. The real guy offensively is much better than that. So Randy Flores trusted his friend's opinion, and they drafted him on the 11th round, which turned out to be a steal. And if you look at him now, Baseball America, he's rated 10th on the Cardinals' top prospects list. And if you put his, you look at what he's done in Memphis, 335 average. He walks all the time. He's slugging over 500. He's fast. He can play all three outfield positions. He can play center. I mean, there is a lot to like about him. I'm not saying he's Jim Edmonds, trust me. But I'm just saying as prospects go, the way they got him, he is a very pleasant surprise, and he can flat out play. I mean, he's on wherever you see Cardinals top prospects list, he's right there around number 10. And actually, I think he's been kind of sneaky good that way. I think he's probably better than that. But again, I'm an amateur. What do I know?
No, you know plenty. There's more to come. I mean, what do you see happening? Or let me ask you, what would you like to see happen in the month of September? Any other names? We already mentioned Weatherhold. Obviously, we would all go crazy if we saw him for the first time. But anybody you'd like to see? I just don't know that their minor league depth is all that great. And I think that's the whole point here, is trying to replenish that.
They have some pitch. See, as you know, it's Takao Roby, pardon me, and Cooper Yerpe, and there's one other guy. I mean, they've had guys who would be at AAA right now and they'd be ready, except for serious injuries. So it's been a bad year.
Rahm, Zach Thompson.
Drew Rahm, yeah, Zach Thompson. But it's one other guy that I'm forgetting, and so forgive me. But below that level, they have some, I think, some really good and promising prospects, other than just Greg Matthews. And of course, Liam Doyle is one of but basically their number 2 prospect behind Weatherhold. So they got some pitching coming, but obviously not the rest of this season. But I think they'll have some guys in position to take a leap forward, as in hop into the major leagues at some point in 2026. And, so I think that's the one area where they've done well and they're getting better results. When I read Baseball America's breakdown, and they just put this out last week of the Cardinals farm system, they moved them up 14th. And before the season, they were 20th. Last year, they were like 23rd. So they're moving in the right direction under the new leadership. And one thing they said, they had a category that said, all right, farm system strengths. And they said they're loaded with left-handed pitching, just loaded with it, and saying they've got as good a crop of left-handed pitching prospects as anybody. So there is some talent down there. I don't want to overstate it. My point is, it's getting better. These things don't happen overnight. And if people don't want to take my word for it because they say, well, you're a Cardinal fanboy or whatever. these are independent evaluations coming from MLB Pipeline and Baseball American Baseball Prospectus.
You finally, Bernie, just, overall, the New York Yankees being in town, it's always good to see some of the big dogs like Aaron Judge do his thing. I just, it takes me back to what I told the police chief when he was here. Robert Tracy spent the first hour with me, a Yankee fan growing up. I think the biggest complaint that the Cardinals fans have, even above the whole, I don't like Bill DeWitt or John Mozeliak, I think it's just overall, they just are tired of being irrelevant. There used to be a time where these national networks would lead with the Cardinals. It's time to get back to that.
No, I totally agree. The Cardinals were a mainstay on the October postseason forum for a long time. They were biggest part of October is Halloween, and all of a sudden they've kind of vanished. They did with Paul Goldschmidt's great help because he was outstanding when they beat Atlanta in the NLDS in 2019. Go look at his stats. I think he hit 470 or something, but he was great. But the Cardinals, after that one series win in 2019, they haven't been relevant at all in October. I mean, I know they made it in 20, they made it in 21, they made it in 2022, but as far as success, they let's just talk about the normal seasons, 21 and 22. They only, they had 3 postseason games, lost them all, didn't score many runs. Goldie and Arenado, unfortunately, basically did nothing in those 3 games, and it's kind of a shame. So the Cardinals are irrelevant, and that's a dramatic change around here. It's hard to get used to, and without me, I'm not trying to disparage the players they have. They have some good players, but the Cardinals, as you know, Tom, growing up in St. Louis, and spending couple 3 decades at KMOX, the Cardinals were a franchise more than, I can't say as a fact they had more stars than any other team, but as La Russa would say, they were tied for first. When you think about all the Hall of Famers that passed through here in Bill DeWitt's 30 years as the owner, you think about Cooperstown Hall of Famers, you think about Cardinals Hall of Famers, you talk about guys who are not yet Hall of Famers because they're not eligible, but will be. It was an amazing collection of rich talent, Hall of Fame level talent. So when you go from that, and when you go, making postseason runs most seasons, and all of a sudden it's the 3rd year, you're not going to be in the playoffs, and your star power is just way, way, way down. And again, I'm telling the truth about that. I'm not trying to be negative. I mean, but I don't also want to pretend they have a lot of star power when they're very, very thin on star power. And maybe that's unfair because maybe I'm holding them to a much higher standard because of all the Hall of Famers that I just alluded to. But the team lacks star power. And so when you don't have star power and you're not getting into the playoffs, there's just not a lot to get excited about. I think that would be true of any fan base in Major League Baseball.
Henry notes that they've been on national TV 3 times in the last week. No, I get that. But what Bernie's saying is, who would be on the cover of Sports Illustrated, so to speak, those types of players. And we're just hoping for that down the road. Bernie, always appreciate you, buddy. Thanks for everything. Your segment sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling, and we'll catch you on the Gas House game this week.
All right. Take care, Tom.
Thanks for being with us. Cardinal baseball comes your way at 1:15 with a 12:20 pregame right here on the Voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's